Hey, thank you very much, everyone, for joining. So today we've come to our final tutorial for the ICT skills unit. So in today's session, we're going to look into our assignment, and we'll have our assignment discussion where we're going to introduce the topic with a scenario, and then we'll look into word count. We'll look into plagiarism, similarities, and how the assignment should look like. So, as you all know, we've covered 4 tutorials for this unit, and then we are now required to write our assignment. So, as we can see, there is always a declaration that you students has to complete when it comes to submitting the assignment. And they will now have to complete all this part where you have to sign, put the word count, and then there will be a signature from the tutor, which is me, before this can now be sent for IQA and EQA. Okay, so let's look into the assignment brief. So the assignment contains 2 tasks which are related to social media and safeguarding online. So researching and creating an academic poster and presenting your work. So the 2 part A will now be required to write a documentation, a Word document. So we now have some learning outcome that need to be achieved, and we now create a article, a poster. So while in the second part, we will now have to create a PowerPoint presentation. So let me read through part A, which is the Word document. In the Word document, you have to select, use and reference information, and use software application. So in this part A, we'll cover what we did in LO1, LO2, and LO4. So for our first, second, and last tutorial. So what it says here, select 4 pieces of information from recognized electronic academic sources about the advantages and disadvantages of using social media in academic context and the importance of safeguarding online. So you will use this article to make a poster, So in the second paragraph, you now have to discuss 150 words, which you have chosen from the article and fully reference them. Then you now have to describe a range of software application appropriate for the use of academic poster. You have to evaluate and evaluate the usefulness of 2 software applications that will help you create your poster. Justify the use. So as you can see at the end of all of them, there is like a word count limit that you now have to follow. Okay, and then now you have to realize your poster. So in your poster, ensure that you integrate objects such as diagrams, charts, pictures to enhance visual communication. So you also need to justify the application use before reflection to meet 2.3. Lastly, you now have to reflect on your experience of creating an academic poster in 500 words. Why did you choose to use certain software application for this project? What went well and what could have been done better? How might you have used other software application to improve the quality and effectiveness of your academic poster? So you have to write on your own words what you think was the positive and the negative aspect of creating your academic poster, and also how and what you could have improved. Also, in part B, you now have to present your poster to the class or to the group to demonstrate your understanding of safe use of internet technologies in academic environment. So this will now include LO3 and LO4. So you now have to include some level of critical analysis about the use of social media in academic environment. So you have to explore what are the pros and cons and compare different uses. Also, you will now have to evaluate the issues around online safety and safeguarding. So you have to make a reasoned judgment about responsibility and argue a point. So your presentation is best to make them in bullet points, where you now go through the pros and cons of online safeguarding. And lastly, you have to evaluate the issues around online safety and safeguarding. So when it comes to write your assignment, we need to ensure that you're using, you're referencing your work, so you're able to cite, to reference everything that you find in the internet. And you have to use the Harvard referencing style. I hope everyone is familiar to it, because I know you'll be covering these topics with in your new unit, which is academic writing skills, I believe, which I know you've already taken on the first tutorial with my colleague. Also, I just wanted to share a video with you on how on how you should be writing your assignment. So this video explains how Harvard reference style has to be done. So let me just share my screen with the video. You're just going to take 1 second. Harvard referencing style. So the video is this one here. Let me just share my screen again. Yeah, so here's my screen. Let me just share the sound as well.
Studying is not a straight path. It's more like a winding maze to finish university. To see you through, you'll need to study other people's ideas, words, and websites, so you can form your own ideas and develop skills to finish your studies and exit the maze. It's easy to think copying and pasting other people's work will help you finish sooner, but in reality, you'll just find yourself at a dead end. If you don't credit your source or present the ideas or words from another as your own, either intentionally or unintentionally, you may be guilty of plagiarism. Referencing helps you avoid plagiarism and is the only path to take to help you exit the maze and truly succeed in your studies. In this video, we'll show you how to properly reference using the Harvard referencing method. This will include the difference between a direct quote and paraphrasing, how to complete an in-text citation for a quote or paraphrase, and how to write your end-of-text reference list. Referencing is a standardized set of rules that you'll use to give credit to your sources. At Swinburne Online, all units, except education and psychology, use the Harvard referencing method. Check the unit details in your online classroom. Let's take a look at how to reference using this method. When referencing, begin with in-text citations. These citations allow your readers to link your key points to where your information was sourced. All sources cited, with the exception of personal communication and references to classical works, need to include an alphabetical reference list, with the full bibliographical details of all sources at the end of your document. If you use the exact words from a source, you're using a direct quote. Only 10% of your overall word count can be in direct quotes, which is why it's so important to learn how to paraphrase. Paraphrasing expresses the same meaning of the quote, but in your own words. Regardless of whether you're using a direct quote or paraphrasing, you must use an in-text citation. Let's take a look at how to do that. When referencing a direct quote, enclose the quote with double quotation marks. When using the Harvard referencing method, the in-text citation should be written immediately after the quote, before the end punctuation mark. You cite a quote using the Harvard referencing method this way. Take note of the punctuation, as this is important. When referencing a paraphrase, you can either begin your sentence with the in-text citation or end with it. Regardless of how you use your in-text citation, you still need to follow the same rules as set out by the Harvard referencing method. Your in-text citations must link to the full entry in the end of text reference list at the end of your assessment. A great way to do this is to open a different doc and simply add to your reference list each time you write an in-text citation. Just make sure you reorder them in alphabetical order before you submit. For a book reference, you must include the following information: the author or editor, year of publication, book title, its edition, volume number, place of publication, and publisher. Use the Harvard referencing method to reference this way, taking note of the order of the information and the punctuation used. Before you submit your assignment, don't forget to cross-check all your in-text citations with your reference list. At Swinburne Online, there's lots of help available to see you through the study maze. You can check out the Harvard referencing format for different types of sources in the Library Harvard Referencing Guide. You can also find more information about referencing and academic integrity in the student portal. And our student advisor team can also assist you with general queries about research and referencing.
Okay, so this video explain how referencing has to be done, how you have to reference your work to avoid similarity and plagiarism. I hope that was clear. So I do have an assignment written from one of our students. So here is an example of how the assignment should look like. So you put your name, date of submission, tutor name, and everything. Then you sign it. You put the total work out, and then you have to cover all the topics. So what you do, you paste your work underneath the front cover sheet, and that's where you're going to write all the tasks. So you have part A, where you have your article. So you have to explain advantages and you have to pick the 4 sources, which 4 electronic academic sources, which are talking about social advantages of social media. So you explain all of them. You explain the type of software application used in academic post as well, and then you include your poster. So by including your poster, you have now achieved most of the tasks. And then you include your reflection. So once you've included your reflection, just 1 second. Just 1 second. Yeah. So once you include your reflection, you now add your list of references. As you can see, the student added all the list of them at the bottom, and what they did at the beginning of maybe a paragraph, they'll put a in-text citation where you have to put the author and the year of publication. So you can see the student has done it multiple times in order to avoid similarities or plagiarism, and this will always so it will always be checked by the software. So whenever we upload a document on Turnitin, this will now check the level of similarities. So this is an example of assignment. So I hope this has been made available by our administrators, where you can find this sample assignment on Moodle. And the deadline for the assignment will be in the next 4 weeks. So you have 4 weeks to complete the assignment and send it for final submission. So this was everything for today's session. Is there any question for me?
As a question, just one.
Yes.
This example for just like this for this guide session or assignment, it will be on Moodle just as when I'm doing the assignment.
You mean if it's a Moodle? You can request it to the administrator. I believe they've already uploaded it for you. But if
Okay.
it's not there, just send a message or send them an email, and they will make available for you.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So you can use this as a reference, so you know how the assignment has to be written. Yeah?
Just is to look at
Yes.
to do comparison, just to
Exactly.
know what I'm doing.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's fine.
You have any other question?
Yeah. No question, no more.
Okay. So if there is no more question, I will end this session, and thank you very much for joining. Have a good day. Bye.